In this episode of Kerbol Conquest, we are going to be going to the Mun for the first time in this series. Um, this ship is just going to be flying by the Mun, though. There's another one later in this video that will actually be landing. The two Thumper, or whatever they're called, engines at the top of the rocket, those are because we got a contract to test a Thumper engines. Oh, wait, no, those aren't Thumpers. I forget what those are called. Whatever those radial liquid fuel engines are called. In LKO, and that's what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna fly by the Mun. Because flying by the Mun is fun. Orbital insertion. Right now, just burning horizontally to gain horizontal speed so that we can orbit Kerbin, so that we can then go to the Mun. And as you just saw, the lines turned blue because we upgraded our tracking station so that we could actually see our Mun encounters, because you couldn't see Mun encounters before. And just doing some science and Jebediah Kerman. That's not Bob. Whatever is it? Yeah, the pilot one is going out. Well, I know his name is Jebediah. Is going out and like getting the data, because that's what pilots do. Even though they're not scientists, no one cares about scientists. Well, actually, scientists are pretty cool. Anyway, beautiful shot of the Mun. Yeah, totally, 100%. A quick save. Jettison. Oh, we're pointing slightly above a retrograde so that we get body lift. As you can see, that like little blue arrow that's pointing up, that represents our body lift. We got that by clicking the F12 key on the nav ball. No, not on the nav ball, on the keyboard. F12 is a key, and keys are on keyboards. Fun fact. That slows our descent so that we can jump out of the atmosphere for no reason, because we like doing that, I guess. Ooh, going a 45-degree angle for even more body lift. Oh, and we just pointed prograde. Wow, wow, so cool. Well, look at that body lift arrow. So special. Anyway, super low-tech rocket. Barely having enough time to get the parachute deployed before hitting the ground. And rocket number 2. We had a contract from last episode that we never finished because I misread the contract and it was harder than I thought it was. So yeah, we're gonna complete that. The contract was to fire a hammer at an altitude of 58 kilometers at a speed between 500 and 580 meters per second. But when we did the video the thing last time, we were going too fast, so we failed the contract. But this time we're like perfectly timing things so that we can get our contract. And then we're just gonna go south with our engine. And completely ignoring that upper stage right there that we could have gone into orbit with. But like, no one cares about orbit when you can just go suborbital. The blue body lift arrow still there because everybody loves body lift. It's like the coolest thing ever. And if you're not taking advantage of body lift in Kerbal Space Program, then you're playing wrong. Parachute deploys with like 350 meters to spare. Wow, like barely doing things. Yeah, sure. Jeb and I almost died there. Okay, rocket number 3. This is another rocket that I failed. This is another contract that I failed to do last time because I didn't plan things out correctly. This one, you just need to hold the Thumper solid rocket booster into a certain altitude. So that's what we're going to do. An altitude between 200 and 210 kilometers. And you don't even need to fire it. So, like, cool. As you can see, we've got, like, the big parts, the 2.5 meter ones. And we're just, like, going up to altitude. We got the contract done because we have a Thumper, as you can see. and now we're just firing it. This is gonna be a rough descent because like we have way too much vertical speed. Like we're almost all the way up to orbital velocity, but it's like all vertical speed this time. Like look at that g-force meter going all the way up to 15 plus g's of deceleration. I know, so interesting. 100 meters to spare this time. And we actually, the heat shield actually generated normal lift. Oh, anyway, final rocket of this video. This is our Mun landing rocket. It's supposed to land on the Mun. It also has 2.5 meter tanks, and it's got a skipper engine with like fuel tanks and 4 fins. The fins are because if we didn't have the fins, we would like flip over. That happened to me, and then I had to reload a quick save. The upper stage is a Poodle engine, and then we've also got a Terrier engine for landing. Like all my Mun landers, this is way too much delta V, because I'm not very good at designing them. And I designed a new one every single time instead of reusing the old ones. Whoa. That wimpy skipper engine can't even get us a 75-kilometer apoapsis. So the Poodle has to do like all the work. And then it gets us into orbit, because that's what your upper stage engines are supposed to do. And then this Poodle is also our transfer stage, which is like cool or something. We're going up to apoapsis so that we can increase our periapsis because it was at like 35 kilometers, and that's not a good periapsis height because that's inside the atmosphere. Ooh, a Mun encounter, and now we're fine-tuning our Mun encounter by setting up a maneuver mode node. Really need to stop calling it maneuver mode. Anyway, yeah, we got 10, almost 10-kilometer apoapsis, and now we're ready to go to the Mun. Deorbit ourselves. I mean, not deorbit ourselves. Get good at this life. Yeah. And we're also going to use this Poodle stage to land because it had more than enough delta V. Well, we're not going to land on that engine because it doesn't have enough delta V to actually land. If we did a suicide burn, I probably would have. But I don't have Kerbol engineer readout, so I can't do suicide burns because I don't have the suicide burn indicator time thing. Ooh, almost getting hit by that Poodle engine. That's like not okay. We almost died there. Right, and even if we did, we could have just reloaded into quick save, so it doesn't really matter. Nice explosions, yeah. Just like holding retrograde and then using the throttle to put ourselves down slowly on the surface of the Mun. Whoa, that looked like a slightly rough landing. It's kind of wobbly. And now we can do our science experiments that we forgot to do in space, low above the Mun. Because, yeah, okay. Lander design. It's just a fuel tank with a ton of batteries. The reason why I have so many batteries is because it doesn't have any solar panels. But it's still way too many. I could have done like 2 and been fine. But yeah, okay. Bob Kerman is resetting the science experiments and collecting the data so that he can put it in the capsule. That's something that scientists can do. Well, pilots can do that too. They just can't reset the experiments. Which is why pilots and scientists are like the only good ones, and then engineers just don't do anything. Because when does anyone actually use an engineer for something? Because the only thing that they're good for is repairing wheels, and if you're good at the game, you just don't break your wheels. Or you just do only uncrewed rovers. And Bob is back in the Soyuz style command module, and Jebediah is going on EVA. so that he can try to plant a flag, because that was one of the contracts I had. And then I realized that in order to plant flags, you need an astronaut complex that's like above a certain level, and that's, well, ours is still level 1, which is why we can't plant flags. Sadness. When you're trying to get into orbit of the Mun, you want to fly flat almost immediately because there's no atmosphere to worry about. And now Bob can, well, now we can just run our science experiments while we're coasting up to apoapsis. Because we needed to do them in space low above the Mun. And I was too lazy. Well, and I was just bored, so I wanted to do them then. Yeah, same way, getting into orbit the same way we would around Kerbin, just pointing flat. Even though the ascent is different because we point flatter almost immediately. Whatever. And now Bob can go back on EVA and do the contracts using his RCS pack to um, grab the data and restore them, even though we don't need to restore them because we're never going to need to use those science experiments again because we already used them in space low, on the surface, and high. Even though the high, the one that was high, that sounds like drugs. Uh, the time that we did science in space high above the Mun was in the flyby mission instead of this mission. It was a different mission. Wow, I know, quality content. And now we can return to Kerbin using our engine, because that's how you make burns. Re-entering the atmosphere, not using fancy body lift stuff, because I don't know why I didn't do body lift. That seems like something that could be cool. Drogue chutes deployed. The main chute's probably going to deploy soon. Yeah, main chute deployed. And now Jebediah tries to do an EVA report and then realizes that we've already got science from this biome. Oh no. And the reason why we didn't get surface samples from the Mun is because we also don't have a research and development complex high enough level to do surface samples.